iZombie Season 2, Episode 14, Eternal Sunshine of the Caffeinated Mind. I really enjoyed what they did in this episode because we got a really great twist at the end. This is a great episode, a great day for twists. I don't know, for any of you who may or may not watch Flash, they did some really crazy stuff in there as well. So I was like, this is a great Tuesday. It was a great Tuesday for just reveals and twists for the shows that I watch. So I was having a great time on Tuesday. But this was a really fun surprise end for the episode. They did a couple of different things because, of course, for one, the fact that Stacy Boss figured out that Blaine was his guy, I was like, that has to happen at some point. It has to, really show up, and it certainly does. And I love the way that they did it because it was totally random. This guy, was like, oh, I remember him, his nickname being Chinatown, and he tells Stacy the whole thing, and it's like, and now it seems as if the DA is kind of saving Blaine because I'm sure he heard about Blaine having been arrested and stuff like that. So that was really great. And then, of course, he dies. And I was like, there is no way he's freaking dead. Because, that, of course, that was just like, holy crap, he actually died. And they bury him and everything. And, of course, they do the little reveal at the end where Don E goes downstairs and Candy is eating brains. So I'm like, oh, they killed. That, of course, means they would have had to have killed her, too, I'm guessing. So she died and got reverted back, or just died and turned into a zombie. I'm not sure what her deal was. I don't know if she was a zombie or what the deal was. I'm guessing she was. So maybe it was just the fact that, just some crazy stuff happened, so she was kind of freaking out a little bit, and she was just, like, nervous eating brains, I guess. I don't know. But, she's down there eating brains, and it's like, he's going to get up. And, of course, he wakes up. He's a zombie again. And it's a crazy thing because, of course, we have the Utopium again, and we do the cure on the New Hope clones, and it is the worst possibility. And they go full crazy zombie mode where they're deteriorated and stuff, and so they can't use the cure on someone who's already had the cure done on them because it'll, regress them into like full on, Romero style zombies. But now we have Blaine, who's back in zombie mode, but does that mean he's not going to die? Does it mean that because he died as a human, he did technically die, like, of course they said they would revert, so I guess they might have to kill Blaine, or kill Major off, and have him turn back, so it could be like, with Blaine, where he came back to life, but we don't know if he's going to die or not. We don't know if this, like, expedited the process. We don't know if it stopped the process of him dying. We have no idea now, and that's the scary thing because, Blaine is in a dangerous position now because, of course, he doesn't know the results of the new test on the rat. So Major still has his clock, whenever. So he still has his reversion to being a zombie before, the final moments. But Blaine was preemptively kind of just taken out. He had an awesome final moment though, because he was typical Blaine. It was like, I had you on your feet, or I had you running, or something like that. And then they just slit his throat, and he was just like, holy crap, and he died. But I don't know what the heck that means. I love that scene though. When he got up, I was like, holy crap, I can't believe that just happened. So that was really great. The other ending scene for this episode where we find Major going to Liv's apartment and he runs into Rita. That, I totally forgot about that even being a possibility for how Liv might connect things. And she still hasn't. Technically, she just knows that, I forgot whatever fake name she used, but Rita, when she was living with her, it's like, oh, she did this just to, hunt Major down or something. Like, she kind of saw it as, like, just this crazy woman who tried to steal, my ex-boyfriend, or ex-fiance, really, because she's just, like, crazy. So, I kind of like the way that it ended, because she still doesn't really know the truth, but that was a crazy moment. And I love the fact that she got really pissed, and she just punched her straight in the face. I thought that was actually kind of awesome. And then it's like, you need to get the F out, because after midnight, I'm burning any trace of you that's left. So, that I actually thought was a really awesome scene for Liv, and just a crazy reveal, because I was like, I didn't even think about that happening, because I'd forgotten, because it had been so long since they kind of had that as even a possibility, and I guess that was the point, was kind of to show, like, this could happen, but, just save it for way later. So I'd forgotten that it was even a chance that she could come back, while Major was also there. So I love that scene for sure, and it was just really good. So I'm excited to see where that goes. I don't know if Rita's gonna try to, mess with Major or something and say you got to change stuff up or you have to kill her, threaten to do that. I don't think her dad will let her really do that because, of course, he'd say no, and that's kind of the leverage they had on him anyway. So if they did that to Liv, he would just out them anyway. So I'm sure it'll ultimately end up as a stalemate. She'll just have to deal with the fact that she took a very hardcore punch because she went down. Well, Liv punched her. She socked her, and I thought it would be like a normal TV punch. It was like, oh, you hit me in the nose, you punched me in the eye. She got punched, and she went straight to the ground, and her nose was instantly bleeding. So I was like, that was really good. We didn't see Liv with zombie eyes, but I guess that was just like a nice solid punch straight to the nose. So I like that scene, and she deserves it because she's one of the villains in general, and just the issues she caused. But I love that scene. That was really good. Another insane moment for this freaking episode is Liv's other, male interest. If I'm hoping I remember his name was Drake, if that's his name. He is an FBI agent, or just a cop, an undercover agent, and that just didn't make sense to me. I was like, holy crap! So he's working with Blaine. He knows about the zombies. He's working with him. He knows that he is the one working against Stacy Boss. He's working for Stacy Boss, and he's working for the cops as well as an informant. I'm guessing he's not an actual agent, but he is at least an informant. They don't exactly say that he's a cop, so it's still possible, but I'm assuming he's just an informant for whatever reason. And if he's not an informant, then he is actually a cop, because they don't give a reason why he would have started to do that unless it randomly started. But I'm pretty sure they mentioned that he'd been doing that for them for like 2 or 3 years or something, like a really long time. So it was just crazy. That was another really great moment for this episode, because when he was getting caught, I was like, oh crap, they busted him for that murder. Like something happened and they found the body or whatever. And then we find out that guy isn't dead. He's in witness protection. So he's fine and he's off, wherever, protected. And now we have this guy who's like, well, he's working for the cops, so he's a good guy, but he's, in a sense, a triple agent. And it's just insane. Like, he has to, of course, keep the zombie thing hidden. He is, helping Blaine kind of take over take over Stacy's territory. And then he, of course, has to keep himself hidden, because if Stacy found out, he'd at least try to have him killed. And then that would kind of just, calamity would fall from that. Because there's always, in these type of things, whenever there's some, like, crazy big gang leader, when that person's gone, that does tend to lead to like some weird fallout type stuff. So if that did happen where he got busted, unless he, of course, ended up getting shot in the head, which would probably happen fairly quick. But if he went, zombie mode and kind of killed Bossy and killed a bunch of people around him, it would be a weird sort of vacuum, and it would change up the show for sure, because that's such a big deal in the series. And that was Blaine's whole thing, and that's exactly what he's doing now. So of course a third person would come in if Stacy ended up getting killed off sometime this season, which might happen now because of Blaine being a zombie. He might be super pissed, and also they might, Stacy might send some people to, try to see what they can get from the funeral home. Like, all right, of course we lost that money, but he felt it was worth it at the time, so it's like, all right, well, killed him off. He's got nobody else. Let's go to the funeral home and try to take whatever we can and sell it off, at least get something from what he owes us. And then he might lose a couple people, because Blaine, of course, will still be there, and he'll just kill everybody who shows up. So it changes. It's a big dynamic. Like, there's some possibilities for sure where they can go with that, and I'm really excited for it. So now we have, Liv's boyfriend is like an agent, and now she's, because she was on the crazy positive mind, she's actually really thinking about it at the end, like, I've been really naive. And then it's like, of course this happens when we find out he's actually like a really good guy. Although he's still technically been involved in some stuff, because he was involved with the murder of the one guy from the last episode, but he wasn't the one that did it. He was actually trying to talk him down. But it was just crazy. It's like, of course we find out he's actually a good guy who just happened to be turned into a zombie, so he's forced to work, for Blaine, and then he's working with the cops as well to take out Stacy Boss. And he may or may not know the stuff about Blaine working for the DA, since he's working for them as an informant. I don't know if he'd be privy to any of that information, but it's just crazy. And I would assume he would, because Stacy knew for sure, so he probably did know a little bit about what was happening. But there's just a lot of crazy moments in this episode that I really love. I kind of skimmed over, but of course the fact that the utopium didn't work and it turned the rat into like a crazy zombie form was pretty sad and disheartening. But now we don't know what's going to happen because of Blaine turning into a zombie early. They're going to have to run tests on him because he died technically as a human. He felt human and everything, but it clearly shows that that never left his system, which was also obvious from the fact that the rat reverted anyway. Which, I guess now that I think about it, I shouldn't have been surprised that he survived because the rat did convert. But I wasn't thinking that at the moment because it's TV and it was just like they just slit his throat and dropped him in the grave, and it was just like, holy crap. Because I thought if he was a zombie, he would have turned like that because it was still in his system, so he would have just got right up, and then whatever would have happened. But he didn't, and he didn't wake up until the next morning, and until he climbs out of the shallow grave. So it was just crazy. Like, it was just a great, great episode. And I really loved the main story as well because it actually was kind of a sad ending because the guy gave himself up for like this evil, this woman's like evil daughter who she killed because she set her up, and which we knew. But then it was like the whole little reveal when she does like the Mona Lisa in the coffee, and then she was the one that drew the art, and it was like she literally drew like an X on the ground, like an X marks the spot type thing. And it was like, holy crap, this wasn't... Because I figured, it was her plan to do that, and we knew that the guy pushed it off. But I didn't think, like, oh, she was the one that, put the chalk art on the ground or anything crazy like that. As a literal X marks the spot, I thought it was just like, oh, it happened to be that random moment, which also doesn't make any sense. Like, oh, she just happened to be there, and he just happened to be upstairs, too. So that's kind of a dumb thought in my head, but... I love the way they did that. And it sucked that she got away because she does. She gets all the money. She signs... the guy wasn't bad or anything. They had their issues, but he wasn't a bad guy. But she signs everything over to him, and she's like, I got my money. I'm out of here. I'm going to Paris because I want to be in an art school. And this guy's going to jail for, an unspecified amount of time. But he could have ratted her out. And he was just in love, I guess. And like she said, one thing my mother didn't understand is that love makes you stupid. And I was like, I cannot believe that happened. Like, that really blew my mind that that's how that case ended. And it was like, that's actually very sad. Because even, they knew who did it, too. And that was the worst part about it. It wasn't like, it would have sucked if she got away and it was still a mystery. Like, they just couldn't figure it out. But it was like, they knew that she was the one that did it. Or at least they both, were together in killing her mother. But they couldn't do anything because he was like, oh, she's totally innocent. And it was all me, and she gets away scot-free, and it's like, that is like the saddest ending they've had, one of the saddest ones that they've had, because they did have that one pretty early on where the guy, I'm trying to remember, he killed a guy because he was allergic to peanuts, and he had like the postcard thing, and he did that, and he admitted it was because that guy ultimately ended up making his sister commit suicide. So they've had some sad, that was like very tragic, but this was just like evil and sad because we knew, and she totally got away scot-free, and it was just like, it was like the villain getting away at the end of a movie. It was just crazy. I was like, I can't believe that happened. I was hoping something would happen, and it would be, because I knew there was enough time left in the episode. I was like, maybe something will happen, and they'll end up catching her, but then it went to all the other crazy twists, and I was just like, man, that was a crazy ending for that case, because they knew who did it. They knew it was both of them, but he's going to take all of that time, and she just goes off to Paris to do what she wants, to go to art school. And it was just crazy. Like, it was pretty crazy, just the way that ended. And I really loved the way that they did it, because it wasn't that happy ending, and it was just so evil and devious, and it worked. And I just loved the way that they played that one. So it's definitely one of my favorite cases, because it didn't end where it was like a happy ending or anything like that. But it's just like, man, it's also very tragic. Like, she killed her own mother to basically go to art school in Paris. And granted, her mother did, was kind of crappy for not trying to help her, like, go to school or anything. But, when you balance the scales, murder is way beyond not helping your kid go to college, because that's pretty nuts. But it was just crazy. I love the way that they ended it with the case. The whole episode I really enjoyed. I think the positivity stuff was definitely funny. One of my favorite scenes well, of course, was Ravi when he ended up talking to the barista that he had a crush on, and she didn't get the Millennium Falcon thing. Although I did love the fact that she was like, "Is that one of the new four things?" That was actually kind of funny. Like if someone did make that joke, that would have been a really good joke. But when she said she didn't see Star Wars and he made that face, I was like, yeah, that's how I would feel too. I was like, oof, not worth the time. Like, sorry, but sometimes when you're just super nerdy, some things you just have to know. So that was just a great scene. I was like, that was really funny because it was just like, oh, the potential that he thought she had, and it was just like, like no, I'm done with this. That's just crazy. That doesn't even make sense to me. But I love that scene. That was really funny. But it was a really good episode. I can't wait to see what happens when they experiment on Blaine, because of course he's going straight to them like, hey, I died and became a zombie, so we're gonna have to figure some crap out. So I can't wait to see how that plays out. Also, what happens between Blaine and Stacy, because he could still send people to the funeral home and everything like that. So there's just a lot of stuff, and we still don't know what happened with Blaine's dad. That never showed up in this episode with him having him do the inheritance thing and all that. That didn't show up at all in this episode. So we still have that to kind of wait for and see how he manages to do the whole, oh, I found this new tape thing and all this extra stuff. But I'm really looking forward to it. We have the Max Rager thing now, because I don't think that'll really blow up. And Major was really freaked out, and he was going to tell, and I was so excited for that. But we still got a pretty awesome twist when he says Rita and Liv figures it out. So as much as I would have loved for him to have figured it out, because the rat thing kind of freaked him out a little, as much as I would have loved for him to have told her, I'm still really happy with the way that scene ended, because it was a big surprise. But I'm really looking forward to what we get. Unfortunately, it's a month away, and I mentioned this in my Flash review. I don't understand why it's a month break. I don't know what the heck is happening. I don't know if there's like, suddenly spring break is insanely long all of a sudden. I just don't know. But it sucks that it was such a great episode, and it's like, alright, wait 4 weeks now before we get to see our next episode. But I certainly loved this one. Definitely want to know what you guys thought about it, so please comment below. Let me know your favorite parts, your least favorite parts. And there were a lot of different things that happened in this episode, but I want to know what you guys think is going to go down with Blaine now that he is reverted back to zombieism. Because, is his timetable sped up? Is he completely cured? Or, so to speak, cured, and he won't die at least because he was technically killed and turned into a zombie again? Or is it still the same? And, is it sped up? Or, what's happening? What's going to happen between him and Stacey Boss? Of course, he and Major still have their weird sort of deal. And Major was in the promo, so he knows that Blaine is going to be a zombie. By the next episode, he finds out. So that's actually good, because it kind of just keeps the plot going really fast. So I'm glad that happened. And he wasn't, hiding it or anything, which wouldn't even make sense if he tried to hide it, because he knows about the death timetable. And I'd be super freaked out if I died once and came back as a zombie. I'd be like, crap, did this just shorten my life, by a year or whatever. So because they don't even know the timetable. So I want to know what you guys think is going to happen with Blaine, and what that's going to lead to as far as answers to the cure, possibly no cure whatsoever, because that was the thing, and they might be bringing it back. There is no real cure, depending on what happens with the rest of these rats. But I want to know what you guys think is going to happen with that, and of course, what you guys thought about the episode in general. So please comment below, let me know, and thanks for watching.